Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I'm Fergus, I'm your host. I'm joined by Trevor in the shoebox of a hotel room, and also joined by the Allinsons, Ian and Lee. We are going to talk the Leverkusen game, we're going to talk the Everton game, and we're going to talk to Lee and Ian about their time with tutors we can support, the Hemel Hempstead football team. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Trevor, you made this by the skin of your teeth. You're in a hotel room in Gatwick, flying out of the country tomorrow. How are you, mate? Can you stop touching the screen? Just don't touch anything. He's doing this on his phone. This is going to be a challenge. Ian, welcome back to the show. We had you on before. It's good to have you back on again. How you been keeping?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, it's been a bit cold this weather in this country, but everything else has been great, thank you.
It is. And Lee, you're still in the office, aren't you? You're preparing for the next game by the looks of it.
Yeah, so I just popped over tonight. A friend of mine's team plays here, so I'm going to give them a watch.
All right, mate. Thank you. Honestly, I've just been.
Trev, get on Wi-Fi somewhere.
I've got
mate.
this.
Get on Wi.
I don't know if you can see it, but there's this strange.
Right, okay. I'll text him. Carry on what you were saying, Lee, and I'll text him.
No, so I've just obviously popped over tonight just to watch a game, and got a bit of work to do. Just speak to the chairman briefly about a couple of things, and all is good.
Yeah, I told him his signal is shit, and he's to get Wi-Fi. So I suppose what I said to your dad before we came along, what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about you guys. We'll talk about you as being the son of a famous Arsenal player when you're growing up. We'll then look at the Leverkusen game and how bad the referee was in that one. Then we'll talk a bit about how you work together. And then we'll look at the Everton game, and we'll go on to talk a little bit more how Hemel are doing, and looking forward to the cup final and the second leg of the Champions League, round of 16. So, Lee, what's your earliest memories of watching your dad play?
I think from very, very early, really, because he used to sit me down and put the videos on and make me watch all his goals. So, but no, listen, obviously growing up, it's just in the house all the time. So the football, I think I recall more at Luton than I do when he was at Arsenal, because I was only a baby back then, but I can remember some snippets of the Luton days, and then obviously going into it a little bit more as I've got older and watching what he'd done, watching his goals and things like that. And it's great that the memories still come up now. And I know he sits down a few of the players at our club and keeps showing the wingers how to score goals and things like that. But I try and remind him that was 1984 and not 2026. But no, it's brilliant, really.
And Ian, did you take Lee to many games?
Not really early on, because he was born in 84, so I signed, was it 83 myself, so he was quite young. I think really, as he said there, more of the Luton and Colchester days, more than the Arsenal days. So it was just one of them. It's just like it's crazy though, because once I got into non-league football as a manager, which would have been really like 1990, he virtually been to every game since he's 5 years of age.
Yeah.
So he was in the car, he was packed up. Wife wanted to get rid of him out of the house because he was mad. But since sort of 5 or 6, he's been to every sort of non-league ground and game that I've been to over the years. As I say, it's just a shame, really. Just he's probably born a little bit later in my career in terms of where I was.
And Arsenal, is that your, if you were to choose a Premier League team to support, is that the team you support, or do you have another team that you support? Be careful.
He can't hear
I can't hear a thing. I can hear
Can't hear
you,
me?
Dad.
you. They said, are you an Arsenal supporter or do you support another team? You have that conversation.
I don't know why I
I-
can't hear. I was hearing fine, and I can't hear.
Yeah, there's a
Hold on,
shock.
let me put
Lee, can you hear me? No.
Trevor, looks like we got
Is
your
that
Wi-Fi
better?
working. And that, yeah, we can hear you, mate. Can you hear us?
You've gone off totally now. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think the Iranians and Trump have got hold of our Wi-Fi connection.
Lee needs to do is shut it all down and come back in again, join again on the link.
Yeah.
He's done that now.
Yeah.
We'll hold that question for him because I think I might have opened a can of worms here.
A lot of things happened in my nephew used to get into him quite a lot. So he turned him into a poor supporter at stages.
So Lee, I asked you a question. Thinking the consequences of it. Are you an Arsenal fan, or are you a Luton fan, a Colchester fan, or is there a team you might support?
No, unfortunately, Man United for my
Of course, with a Cockney accent.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a difficult one because actually my whole household are Arsenal. My other side of my family are Arsenal. My family, this side, are all Arsenal, bar my cousin. So it's too late to change now, unfortunately. Do I keep an eye on Arsenal's results? Yeah, of course I do, and watch some of the games. But yeah, as I say, I am a Man United fan, but probably less said about that, the better.
Fergus.
Yes.
I thought you said you'd done your own work on it. What are you doing with a Man United fan on here?
I've done my homework, Trev. I texted you and said, what the hell are we going to ask? And you rolled a list of questions. And I thought, I'd chance my arm and shove another question. My brother's a Man United fan, so we have constant banter all the time. And one of my brother lives in Highbury. And we always wind him up, all the lads, when we go to the football goal. We keep on singing to him in the pub and everything. You live round the corner. You live round the corner.
Listen, we're not here to talk about your brother, Fergus. We're here to talk to Ian and Lee, right? So reel your neck in a bit now. Lee, listen, right? You'll have heard this story before, mate, but your dad gave me one of the greatest nights of my life as an Arsenal fan, right? No contest, right? I will forever, if I've never met your dad face to face, but if I ever meet your dad, I will be absolutely speechless, Lee, because that night in the Park Lane end at Tottenham, right, I think I left with one shoe, a twisted ankle, bruises all over my head, because when he scored that equaliser and then pretended he passed, but it was a mishit shot, really, I know, right? For Rocky to score the winner was one of the greatest nights at Tottenham in my life, and I will forever be thankful to your old man, Lee, all day long. Wonderful.
I've often said this when the second goal goes in and the camera pans onto the crowd. It just was scary how many people was in that end and how they were all jumping around and obviously going mad. But you look at it, it looked like it was overcrowded then, didn't it? And that was back in '87.
Yeah, they used to squeeze us in at Tottenham because it wasn't too deep a terrace, was it? So they used to squeeze us in.
No.
But yeah, wonderful. Sorry, Ferg, I'll let you carry on there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Lee, obviously, we wrote some of these questions not knowing how much you went to Arsenal and stuff like that, but some of them were like, when you went to school, because your dad was like playing at Luton and Colchester and previously at Arsenal, what was that like? Did you walk around like, you know who I am in school?
It's a strange one with obviously Dad, because he's very, very humble, and I think that's what that people like about him. You know, he would never really talk about what he'd done in the game, and I think you get a lot of players like that have been at the top level. I mean, he does remind everyone now what he's done, I think, because we're all forgetting about him. But no, I think look, obviously growing up in school, I funny one, we'll probably touch on this later, but growing up at school, I loved football, I was obsessed with it, but I wanted to be a manager rather than a player. And I had bundles of ability and talent, but all I'd ever known was managing, because I would literally go and watch Dad every Saturday and Tuesday. So for me, it was more talking about the managing side of it and going to the games that I'd been to rather than talking about what he had done. But obviously people knew what he'd done in the game. But I think now it's very different nowadays to what it was back then as well. Obviously, with the money involved in these days, I probably would have gone to private school as well. But as I say,
Anybody, does one know who one is?
But no, listen, it's very, as I say, it was. You know, I remember getting stopped a couple of times in the street and people saying, I see Allinson used to play for Arsenal. He's like, no, it's not me, it's someone else. You know, very, very humble in what he done and how he went about his work. And as I say, I think that obviously is a very good thing. So growing up, it was, everyone knew about it, but I think you'd really talk about any different than anyone else.
Ian, that's quite interesting that Lee wanted to be a manager more than a player. Okay, you had your time as a player, but in my industry and in a lot of industries, people who do a job, the real job, the day job, to move from the day job to management, like the best striker doesn't make the best manager, the best goalkeeper doesn't make the best manager, the best salesman doesn't make the best sales manager. How did you find a transition to that, and how did that probably Lee take it from there? But go on, Ian, what was your?
I think it was very difficult. I think it was 89, 90. I left Colchester. We had Jock Wallace was the manager, and funny enough, Alan Ball was the assistant manager at the time.
Oh wow!
And it was just. I probably said this before last time I was on. You know, when I left Arsenal, I grew out of love with football very quickly in terms of playing. Though I'd obviously gone off to Stoke and then Luton and went back to Colchester, it became something where when you've been at somewhere like Arsenal, and I always remember a lot of people saying to me that, you know, if you look at hotels and you rate them by 4 or 5 stars, Arsenal was always a 6-star hotel, and that's the way they did things. Even in my time, they did the best of everything, gave you the best of everything, and looked after you the best way they could. So when I left Arsenal, it was always difficult. I was always I felt I was always on the way down. So I took the choice to go to Bulldog as player manager. And I did it for about 18 months. But you know what? It was one of the worst things I've ever done, because trying to manage and play is impossible. And you don't see many player managers anymore, do you? In going back,
No.
there used to be a lot of player managers, no more. And it's so difficult. Because if you're not having a good time yourself, you're then telling people what they're doing wrong. You've got to look at yourself in the mirror. And so I decided very quickly to hang the boots up and just become a manager. And that's what happened. Obviously, starting out at the bottom with Baldock and Stotfold in terms of the leagues they were in. And then you've got to build yourself a reputation. And I probably built that reputation my first spell at Boreham Wood. Once I left Boreham Wood after a period, but then went back again, and that's when we took them from Ryman Division 1 North by default right up into the National League in sort of a 10-year period, and that's where I probably built my managerial career up. But every year, obviously, I'm supporting Lee now, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years. But you know, I've been employed as a manager or a director of football, or as I am now, which is head of football operations since 1990. So I've been doing it for 36 years now as a manager, and as I say, director of football, but also sort of 16, 17 years. So just over 50 years now. I've just been every season involved in football, and it's just something that you really don't want to. It's scary times when you think you've got to stop it, and that really does concern me and worry me at times.
I suppose the last thing we'd talk about, excuse me, the hybrid things, and then we'll have a break into football for the Arsenal football for a little bit. Lee, did you ever get to explore the Marble Halls, or were you too young to go around there?
No, I went to a few games there. I remember going to Arsenal, Man United.
Of course,
in the Arsenal end as a Man United fan. That was my sister's godfather took us then. I remember it really well. Just a fabulous stadium, though. Obviously, that old school stadium. I thought it was great there. You know, and again, it's a strange one because I'm not an Arsenal fan, but obviously, I kind of follow Arsenal because of the family and everyone else that's attached to it. Yeah. So that's why, like, obviously, I watch their games and what's going on. So I think I went to the ground 3 or 4 times, but never had that opportunity of actually going. Did I play there, Dad, once with you?
Yeah, in some charity games, we played a couple
Yeah,
of
I've done a charity game there. Yeah, and I played at the Emirates with Dad. I mean, very fortunate to be able to grace the pitch, but yeah, obviously, but not had that actual, look round and go through it all. But you see the videos and things like that about the place, and it was a great ground.
Wonderful.
Go on, Trev.
Wonderful. Ian, I think I might have asked you this before, right? But when I was a kid, we just used to go up to the Arsenal ground just in the hope of seeing a player or seeing something happening. And Paddy Gallagher was a bloke that used to look after us kids. You know what I mean? He used to communicate with us kids. He used to make you feel part of the place. Did you know Paddy? How was he with you, Ian?
I remember Paddy. I think he was just one of them that just generally was a good guy who was around all the time. Very supportive in terms of what we was doing, and just really genuinely helped. But there were so many people like that at Highbury at the time. If you can remember, so many people were supportive in terms of what they were doing. Everyone, there was never a cross word there, was there? Everything was really. As I said earlier, very, very professional the way they did everything in terms of the guy that met you on the front steps and in terms of when you went in, the staff. The staff have been there so long and some of them have been there. I mean, I know David Miles quite well and the amount of times that David spent there and where he started off, how he come through. You still feel people like Ken Fryer now. And I think once you get involved with Arsenal Football Club, it's very, very hard to break away from it because, as I say, it's a very special club and special people that work there.
So, yeah, absolutely. As a fan, sorry, Ferg, as a fan, when we left Highbury, I felt like I was pushed away a bit because I know we had to move to the Emirates, right? It had to have a number of reasons, but you always felt like you were part of the furniture, even as a fan at Highbury, you were so close, and Paddy was a great man. And I found I'd seen, I don't know who showed me now, it might have been you, Ferg. Ken Fry was actually born on Avenel Road, or Gillespie Road, one of the two.
Yeah.
All of his life, Wow, and that's I felt like I was part of that, but the Emirates, I don't know. I'm still taking to it, if I'm honest. I think we need to win a big trophy, and then maybe we'll feel more at home there.
Yeah, I think it's because you have to progress, didn't you? I always, sitting still while all the other clubs were making it bigger and getting bigger crowds in. You could never compete with some of them clubs. So it was the right thing to do. But as I say, with Highbury, it was just for me. Obviously, I had 4 years there. It's just a special place to be in part of it. And as I say, once you walk through the main doors, you're in your marble hall anyway. And then, everybody spoke about the heated floor in the home changing room, though it didn't work in the away changing room. It was it was things that that everybody spoke about before my time of even getting there. The things that you wanted to experience. The flooring was in. Were you looking at 83, 84, and you had underfloor heating, which is crazy. I mean, probably every club's got it now, but in them days, it was never known.
Yeah.
Trev, we took the trip out. We done Monday to Thursday. I'll tell you what near killed me. I'm getting too old for this. Monday to Thursday, we went out to Leverkusen because we booked Monday to Thursday because the flights can sometimes work out cheaper. You don't know what day the game was going to be played on. But there was a good crowd of us.
Hang on a minute. You could have chose a picture I was actually in. Hey? Jesus Christ. You've not even chose a picture I'm in there.
I had to get a picture that Will was in because he's not in most of the other pictures. There's an in-joke that Will will know about. But
unbelievable.
It was a great trip, but Trevor, in his fitness campaign, nearly killed me. I walked 30 miles. Now, I don't know if you've seen this body, but it's not designed to walk 30 meters, never mind 30 miles. Trevor, you nearly killed me. Did you have a good time?
What? Do you know what, Ian Lee, right? I made sure that I weren't having no fried stuff and I was eating that German stuff. It's a bit heavy, but more healthy.
Schnitzel's not fried, is it?
I didn't have a schnitzel, did I?
You too.
I sat opposite Fergus, right? And he came out and his meal had a salad with it, right? And all I said was, that'll do to you. No, I'm at all, big lad. Well, he nearly took my head off. He nearly took me head off. I couldn't believe it. So I'm not talking any more about it. I'm not talking any more about it.
Let's talk. God.
It's a good trip though. It was a good trip though. I love Cologne. Cologne's a great place.
Yeah.
Where did you play abroad, Ian? Sorry, Lee.
Well, we had. I mean, most of the years we was there, we had. We were banned from Europe, wasn't we? All English clubs because of the. I think it was the High situation, wasn't
Stadium,
there?
Yeah.
And something else that happened as well. So all English clubs was barred from Europe. So we couldn't even go on pre-season tours. So I think we had a pre-season tour to Australia and Singapore organised. Couldn't do that. I think there was another one pre-season somewhere else again, and then mid-season. To say mid-season, I know we went to. I was looking at there was a thing come up the other week. We had a game in Saudi Arabia, one sort of Tuesday or Wednesday, just in the season, and I think we won 2 or 3 and nil in there, but it was just a strange place to go in them sort of days in '85. But I'd say the ISIL Stadium really put a block on a lot of stuff in terms of us travelling abroad because of the ban on all supporters.
Yeah, Everton didn't they win the league in that period and didn't get a chance to go into the what is now the Champions League trophy.
Yeah, and they were a good side them days as well.
They were. Trevor's having trouble again, but he'll join us back. Yeah, here he is. Leverkusen. Let's talk Leverkusen. Lee.
Lee's gone now.
As Lee's dropped off. Ian, talk to me about Leverkusen. A lot tougher opposition than many people thought. People going, it's going to be 3-0, 4-0. Everyone said that, we had the easier draw. Leverkusen are no mugs when it comes to European football, are they?
I think any of the German sides are. We've said it for years and years and years. They're monotonous in terms of the way they plan and prepare. They do their jobs correctly, and any German side you draw in any competition will be tough to play against. And I think it was getting a draw out of it is a fantastic result. I still think they've got to be on their guard tomorrow, or is it Wednesday night they're playing? In terms of, but they've just got to be ready to go out there and win a game of football. But any German side you draw in any competition, I think if you underestimate them, you'll get turned over.
Absolutely.
Lee, that Coffane, is that his name? The young 19-year-old up top for Leverkusen. I'm sure you watch football. You said you watch a lot of the Arsenal football as well, but you'll watch it looking at the skills of different players. And nobody can deny that Saliba and Gabriel are probably the best 2 centre halves in Europe. But they were given a run for the money in that game.
Yeah, I think with these younger players, there's a lot no fear. You've only got to see Max Dowman at the moment and what he's achieving. They've got no fear, and I think that with the experienced boys at times they'll do a job. But these younger players coming through, they're a different animal. And I have to say, I thought you give Arsenal a hard time. Having said that, I thought Arsenal dominated the game. They've come through it in the end and got a draw, and I think that will be enough. I think they'll win the game comfortably this week. Because they're a good side. At the end of the day, they're a good side, and at home they're as good as anybody, Arsenal, and I think they'll go close this year. But like Dad said, there these German teams, they're no mugs. They're. I always Dad used to call them they're like machines, like robots. They just do their jobs. They're fit. They're strong. They know what they're doing, and you've only got to see the success of some of the English boys that have gone over there and played. They've become better players. So, I think that it's going to be a tough game, but I think they'll pull through comfortably.
On offside, do you look at? I don't know what the transfer window is like in the National League South. If you do look internationally for players, do you look to like some of the Bundes 3 and some of the equivalent leagues?
You have a lot of agents contact you. It's like anything, have we got living accommodation for people to come over and play for us? You've then got to get international clearance. And I think the biggest one out of them all is we've had some fantastic technical players come over from different countries and train with us, and you see them in games and you see their highlight reels. This non-league football is no joke. It really isn't. It is physically so demanding. And it's evolving all the time. You've only got to see in our league now, from a league where Dad was probably 10 years ago and got promoted. I don't think there was a full-time, or if there was, there's probably one full-time team in it. there's 10 full-time teams in it now. So the league's evolving all the time, so it's very, very difficult. So if you get one of those players that come across, they've got to be very, very good. And then I asked the question, well, they're probably looking at a higher level than us. So we're sort of in that bracket where, we're probably a league away from looking at maybe bringing one or two over. We get a lot of Irish boys contact us, and I've always liked the Irish boys. I think they're very good players. But again, it comes down to accommodation. It comes down to money. It comes down, we only train Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we haven't got that full-time structure that these young players need.
Yeah. Trevor, the Leverkusen game, the referee's performance, I thought, for a Turkish referee, I thought he looked a little bit out of his depth in the game. There was a penalty shout that we should have had early on in the game, and I think if we had that penalty, which was clearly seen afterwards, that there was contact on Kai Havertz, I think it was, that he should have had a penalty then. What did you make of his performance? And no, I don't know who the penalty was. Kai Havertz got a yellow card at one point, and he didn't do anything.
You know me, Ferg. I'm not really bothered about the referees, but we've come away with a 1-1, and I'm really happy with it because, as Ian and Lee just said, Germany, we all know it's a tough place to go, right? And there was a lot of people thinking it was going to be an easy tie, this, and I'm really pleased that Lee has just said, because Lee's got a lot more experience in football than I have, that he thinks we're going to get home comfortably tomorrow. Because I'm still thinking these Germans could just surprise us if we're not careful, if we're not at our best, So I'm not really worried about the referee's performance in the first leg. To be honest with you, Ferg, I can't remember a lot of it. I was about 15 pints in, but
I must admit, it would have been sketchy for me too.
Nothing sticking in my head that it was really bad. So yeah, we went there. We've come away with a 1-1, a last-minute penalty, which some people said it weren't. Some people said it was. I'll take it all day long because it swings and roundabouts. And I can't go tomorrow night, but hopefully we'll have enough to turn it around because I'm saving my money up because next it looks like we're going to have a trip to Bodo again. Oh, Bodo, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Last time we got there, we stopped off in Oslo Airport on the way, right? Me and my mate. I said, I'll get the beers in. 2 pints. So I'm going to go behind the counter. I went, £25, please.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is going to be a great trip. I'm still hiding the credit card bills from the missus now. 5 years later,
And he bought a half and half scarf.
I did, yeah. Bodo, I did, yeah. There's a few I bought. Bodo, Poltava, Borisov, all them places I know I'll never go again, Well, I thought last time, and here I am. Looks like I'm going to Bodo again. But yeah, we're not here to talk about me anyway. Let's talk about Lee and Ian. Ferg.
Yeah, I suppose you've type of touched on it, but what is it like working together? Because when I came over to London, first of all, I came over with my parents. They were in the pub trade, and I worked with my mum and dad, and I was the cellarman and head barman and everything else. And invariably, at least once a week, me and my dad would get into some sort of argument, scrap, or something or another. Yeah, it was always my fault. What's it like, Lee? I'll ask you first because I can feel your pain.
No, I think it's like a dream, to be honest with you. Like who wouldn't want to, work with their family member or your dad in football? I'm very, very fortunate, as I said to you earlier. Like I've watched him manage for 25, 30 years at a very good level. I feel he should have gone higher. Personally, I think he's a very, very good manager. It's more his managing skills than actually his coaching side of things. He'll tell you I'm a manager, I'm not a coach. I think the game's evolved a little bit more now. I was always known as probably a little bit of a class clown. So, I don't think he took me serious until I was about 30, 31. And I stopped playing at the time in non-league, and he got the St Albans job. And I said, look, Dad, give me an opportunity to come in with you. We'll do well together. And it was a great 4 or 5 years working with him. We think exactly the same. Of course, you always have moments where I'll drive him mad, he'll drive me mad, but it's just we both want the same, and that's to win games of football. It's not personal. We go away from here and we probably talk every single day. We do talk every day about football. We haven't really got much relationship away from football, so it's football. And look, he's the best thing I done was bring him in with me at Hendon. Always felt that would be his next step after when he finished managing. and then to bring him in at Hemel, which is a really, really tough club to manage in terms of, they've gone through a lot of managers over the last 6-7 years since Dean Brennan left, who's now the Barnet manager, a chairman that is a really hard-working chairman, and to have someone like Dad here with his experience and his know-how and his knowledge has definitely helped me, because I'll call upon him sometimes and, ask him questions. And I think the biggest thing for me, it allows me to make my own decisions, and I think that's massive. He'll always give me his opinion, and I'll go what way I feel that's right for the team and the club. And yeah, listen, if we'll go to a game tomorrow night together, and we'll train Thursday, and then we'll go away to Hornchurch on Saturday. It's relentless, but it keeps a good relationship, keeps us nice and close, and that's the way I like it.
Yeah, Ian, who was the final word though?
Now we're together, it's obviously down to Lee. I mean, the one thing I've always said to him as a manager, he's got to make that final decision. He has to be held responsible for the reactions and the results. But the one thing I've always said to him, there's no way I ever want him to foul. So when we work, I'll give him my opinion. Sometimes he might not want to listen to my opinion. Sometimes I'll give him my experience. And he might not want to listen to that, but I think it's just there being a bit of a soundbar for him in terms of asking what we feel we should do. I'd give him my reasons why, and let him take it on board, and then he makes that decision. And to be fair to Lee and the people around him, we've not been far wrong in sort of the last 18 months in some of the decisions we've made. We might get one or two wrong, but we haven't. I mean, I probably count on one hand how many we've got wrong in the last sort of 18 months. And it comes down to him at the end of the day. As I say, I've got no reason for him to fail. I want him to succeed. I want him to go on to a better level. And that's not being disrespectful to the Conference South or to Hemel Hempstead. But, if he wants to be a manager, he wants to take it serious, he needs to go to the next level, which would be the conference. And then if he gets an opportunity to get into the Football League.
Trev, did you ever work with any close family or anything like that ever?
No, didn't get on with my family, not at all. Listen, you're about to coin a phrase from Brian Clough. I could relate to what Ian's saying there with Lee, because we have the same conversations. And to Nick's story for Brian Clough, we do discuss things, don't we, Ferg? And then at the end of the day, we decide I was right and we move on. So, listen, boys, listen. I've been waiting forever to get you two on here, but Ferg, I said just a little while ago, I've got half an hour. I'm going to have to drop off, right? I'm in a shoebox, and I've got a missus sat on the floor in the corner. She's just come back with me dinner, right? Honestly, and she's got her feet under my nose, and she's had her shoes on all day, so you can imagine what it's like here, to be honest. But I'm going to
enjoy your food. You might be able to eat for another week or two.
Probably not, yeah.
Through straw.
She's put one of them things that minces the food up in a bag to take with us. We'll have to get you boys back on, and I'm going to come down to Hemel soon and watch a game there, because I love a bit of non-league. I'm sorry I'm having to leave you with Fergus, boys.
No, you carry on. And good luck. Good luck where you're going. So.
Yeah, I'm going to tell everyone out there, I'm going over to Turkey. I need a load of dental work doing. I'm getting on a bit. My teeth are not the best. And I thought, well, I'm going to go over to Turkey and get them done, because if I stop and get them done here, I'll need a mortgage. You know what I mean?
You're right, though. You're right. Yeah.
I'm a working class man, so I'm going over there. Ian.
Good luck.
Ian.
Pleasure. Been a pleasure again.
Desperate for the day I'll come and have a chat with you, mate, face to face.
Be lovely.
It'll be an honour. Be an honour. Lee, thanks for coming on, and come back on again soon when I've got more time. I'm really sorry.
Absolutely.
Ferg, I'm sorry I've got to leave you to it, mate. But I'm even more sorry I've got to leave these two to you. All right. I'll talk to you later. Cheers, boys.
Look after yourself. Bye-bye.
I don't know how to get out of here now. Oh, this is like an old show. Oh, no. This is like an old show we was on before. Do you remember?
Yeah. Is he gone?
No, I've shut the screen down now. I haven't got... Oh, here we go. Hang on. Let me turn it sideways. Here we go. See you later, boys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, my God. You know what? You wouldn't want to give him a Casio watch. He'd probably break it. Guys, do you ever fall out? It's only me and you now at the minute. Ian, do you fall out often? Or
No, not at all. No, we've always been quite a close family. Yeah. I say might have the odd word, but nothing to like in terms of not being talking or not involved. At the end of the day, family's too precious. You can't be falling out with your family. If you fall out with your family, you got. For me, I think you got serious problems. So no, he's got he's got grandchildren as well now, which we see most weekends. It's a strange one because we literally do talk sort of twice, 3 times a day. It's crazy.
Do you talk other than football?
No,
Not really. No, not really. No. He might
if
ring
my
me up
daughter's gone to school or not, that's it. Other than that, no, it's football talk only.
He might ring me up and say he's had a bad night. He's eating something late at night. He's got to learn from that. When you get to a certain age, you can't start eating curries before you go to bed, can you? So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, it's it's a family life. So
let's look at the Everton game from Sunday. This, which I'm wearing, is courtesy of Arthur Guinness. I drank lots of it, and then after we won, I was so excited, I ended up dropping 100 quid in the club shop and buying a new top. And I had to tell the wife I got a great deal and a great discount and everything else. But hey, that's the way it is.
It looks really good though, doesn't it? It's a nice top.
It is quite a nice top.
Yeah.
It is quite a nice top. Yeah, I already had the blue and yellow one. Or the bluey one with the yellow and red stripes along there looks really well.
I've still got that from the '87 Cup final.
It's in my house.
You've got it, Lee. Lee's got it.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
'87 Cup final. Yeah.
Oh, that's worth a few quid. To be honest, we were talking to some of the lads on the trip because you know what the conversation's like on you're with each other for 3 or 4 days, and they're talking about the gold Sega shirts. They're talking about all various shirts, and a few of them buy and sell shirts, and they go for lots and lots and lots, 200, 300, 400 quid.
Yeah,
so it's huge. It's huge.
I had the bottoms, and I think I wore them painting once, and I got paint all over them, so I had to throw them away. But we kept the top. Didn't think nothing of it. So.
Oh wow! Gosh, you probably made somebody cringe and crawl in the corner.
Crazy, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it is. With a decent lineup in this one, we had Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Rice, Zubamendi, Eze, Saka, Madueke, and Havertz. I suppose Lee, being a manager and given the opportunity to manage, say, a side like that, who, if all are fit, who do you have in your midfield? If you were choosing, say it's the cup final next week, if you had every player fit, who are you putting in the midfield for Arsenal?
Rice and whoever else around him, in my opinion. I think he's a glue between everything. I think he's been the signing that will win them the league, personally. I think that he's very underrated. He never give you a below a 7. And anyone with him, and this is why I think they'll win the league. If you look back to the Man City glory days with Rodri in midfield, and you look back to the Man United days with Roy Keane in midfield, and you need that leader in there. And I just think he's a born leader. I think he's a winner, and I think that whoever else goes in there with him will be a better player for it. I think that any team that has success, they'll have that one midfielder that just links the whole play together, and I think that's Declan Rice, and I think whoever works around him will be better players for it.
Did you both watch the game on TV then on Saturday night?
I didn't see the first half. I watched the second half. We obviously had the game. We got home. I said, just the second half come on, so it was. I found it a little bit slow, to be fair. Second half, it was like we was building up into it, and we never really got going second half, did we? Apparently, we played well first half.
The first half we played well. Raya had an absolute fantastic game. Made some amazing saves in the game, which he always does. And Calafiori made a wonder kung fu kick to prevent Everton. And an Everton team, to be honest, they would feel a little hard done by not getting a point in that game because they really, really performed well. Didn't you think?
I think Everton are a dangerous side. I think he's one of them sides you could probably never underestimate. No matter what, David Moyes gets them really organised, doesn't he? They know their jobs. A bit like what we was talking about, with the German sides. You see what he did with West Ham, and they went on and won in Europe. Probably should have kept him. Probably should have got a deal out there to keep him going because they wouldn't be in the situation they're in now. I think he's a great fit for Everton. And I just think they're a really dangerous side on their day that they can cause you lots of problems. And it was a good one to get over and get away with it.
Yeah. So How did the atmosphere come across to you guys on the TV, even in that second half? Because in particular, for me, in the second half, it was just extremely, extremely nervous. Like everyone was quite quiet.
Yeah, I think that this stage of the season, it don't matter how the game looks or what it is. It's just about winning, and I think that you're always going to have them nerves in the stadium. You know, we get nervous at Hemel, so you can imagine what it's like there with 60,000 people nervous, and you know it's people become aggressive because of that, and it changes the atmosphere. You could see once the goal went in, the relief from the ground, the whole ground just lit up. And then obviously when Downman goes through and scores the second, like the whole relief from everybody at the football club, and the atmosphere after that was unbelievable. But it's just nervousness at the moment. You know, I think that it don't matter how you win now. It's the stage of the season where it's just about winning. Whether that's 1-0, 3-2, 5-1, whatever it is, it's just about getting 3 points. And however that looks.
At Vauxhall Road, if you've got a sellout crowd, I don't know who your derby game would be, but if you've got, what is it, 3,500, 4,000 that you can have there, if there's that sort of atmosphere, and I'll go to you firstly, how that nervousness and that anxiety that's in the crowd, do you feel it? Do the players feel it? Does it affect them? Does it make them change their game?
Absolutely. I mean, we had Torquay here last year, and they needed to beat us by a certain amount of goals, and they brought 2,500 here, and we had 1,000, and we were the home team. And I don't care what anyone says; it puts you on the back foot. It does cause a little bit of nerves, and I think once you get into the game, you do blank it out, but you will feel that nervous. Probably more so, like for us on Saturday and for Arsenal, you're expected to win. That's where it's harder. If you were playing Man City on Saturday, that stadium would have been electric, and that crowd would have got Arsenal through the game. But when you're expected to win, and it's on Arsenal now to lose it, it's a natural reaction to be nervous. You know, even people sitting in front of the TV watching it as Arsenal fans will be nervous sitting there. They'll be overcritical because they just want that goal to get him in front, then to go and see the game through. As I said to you, once they got 1-0, you could hear the relief in the stadium. That I actually loved the second celebration. I thought it was outstanding. I loved it, you know, and the whole ground just lit up because it is just nervous energy, and the players hopefully don't feel that. You have to, you know, they're more experienced enough now to understand that, you know, they're supporters and they're going to feel it. But players, you know, if they keep doing the right things at the right times, nothing will change. Arsenal, in my opinion, will win the league because they're the best team in the league this year at what they do.
VAR, Ian, it came into criticism on Saturday as well because Havertz clearly had a penalty. I don't have the still photograph of it here. I can't find it at the minute.
I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah, I've seen it.
He stood on his foot. It's clearly a penalty, but 3 seconds VAR. You know, they take 3.5, 4 minutes to decide an offside. That's 4 or 5 phases up the pitch, and 3 seconds to decide a clear and obvious penalty. Ridiculous, isn't it?
I think it's totally ridiculous. I think some of the people sitting in them studios really should be replaced with professional players who's played the game.
Yeah.
My shout straight away was Arsenal are drawing 0-0 at home and need to win the game. Kai Havertz is through on goal. Why would he fall over? And that's the reason why, when you look at it, it's got to be looked at more intensely in terms of where it was, and how you can make a decision that quickly is crazy. And I still think something happens between the referee and the studio in terms of the referee says, no, clearly no contact or something like that. And they just carry on with it. But as I said, there's no reason why Havertz wants to go down. He's got a great opportunity to score a goal, and they need to win the game. So it's just poor decisions.
Arteta saw that he needed to win the game. We knew if we drew that probably at the other end that City would probably get a result at the London Stadium. Although I predicted 2-0 Arsenal and 1-1 City days beforehand. The closer the game came, the more I said I'll take 1-0 by own goal. But there was a huge impact by the substitutions. Now, at times over the last 5-6 seasons when Arteta has been in charge. I've questioned sometimes his substitutions and the lateness of some of his substitutions, but they were absolutely perfect at this stage, Lee. He brought on Max Dowman, who assisted more or less for the first goal for Gyökeres, and then we'll look in a minute at his goal. How could you see in previous times that sometimes that Arteta with his pragmatic approach was later with substitutions, or did you rate? Well, he's clearly an excellent manager.
I think it's very difficult. You're like at any level, we're our heads are on the chopping board, and we have to make crucial decisions at crucial times. I think in Arteta's defence, I think that sometimes that he'll be looking at a game, and you've got to think of all the analysis that they've got in that time at the club, and the reports that will be coming down to the staff and how they're playing and what they're doing and everything else. So I don't think his substitutions are made on split-second decisions, probably like what they are in the probably League One, League Two and downwards. He'll be getting so much information from staff members about how fit someone is, how much they're running, and it goes on and on and on. So at the end of the day, I don't think that anyone can criticise Arteta for his substitutions when they're top of the Premier League at the moment. I just think that you have to make decisions at the right time. He got his subs right on Saturday. He might get his subs wrong tomorrow night, and they might become under pressure. But it's hard decisions to make. He's got a fantastic squad, but at the end of the day, he's sitting top of the league by 4, 5, 6 points. He's in a great position.
9 points.
9 points it is. He's in a great position, and who are we to tell that his subs are right or wrong? He's got them right on Saturday, and I'm sure. Listen, we made a sub last week, and we felt that it was probably the wrong sub to make, but the lad popped up with an assist and won us the game. But at the time when we were watching it, we're thinking we're probably playing him out of position. He's not the right sub, and he's come up trumps and set the winner up for us. So, you have to make decisions at crucial times, and they're very, very tough decisions. And as I say, the Premier League is the best league in Europe, and he's feeling that this is the way to go, and you have to trust him because he's at the moment getting success.
Yeah. It was just at times a couple of seasons ago at Man United, at Liverpool, I just thought a couple of times he's left some subs too late when he could have made them earlier. And Liverpool, when we lost 1-0 at the beginning of this season, he left his subs till 78 minutes where Slot had done it earlier. I'm picking a tiny detail. The guys.
It's very difficult because if you're having a good spell in the game, sometimes you want to say, just leave it. I always think if you're struggling or you've really not got a foothold in the game or the game's going against you, you really do need to try and change something. Because to change the balance of play, just do something slightly different. Just play a different way. Well, we always used to say we need to have a tear up on the pitch or something like that. Just do something that's going to get people lively or affect the opposition, just to make something slightly different, just to change the way the game's settled in. Because some teams just get relentless, and especially, you've probably seen it as much as I have at places like Anfield and places like that, when they get on top in that last 15 minutes. And it's literally attack after attack after attack. You've got to do something slightly different. You see it more and more now that goalkeepers go down with an injury, and obviously I think they'll do something next year in terms of changing them things around. But just going back to the question you asked, Leah, don't you feel when you look at Arteta, I actually think he's feeling it a little bit himself in terms of his reaction when they scored the goal, his reaction on the sidelines. And this isn't a criticism whatsoever. I actually think it's fantastic because you can see he's got every single player behind him, and the reaction to when Downward scored the goal, the subs and everybody run towards him. I think he's built a fantastic squad, and the reaction to what they want to do, their focus is unbelievable. But I do think the manager feels a little bit under pressure, which is tough for him.
I think he probably does feel a bit under pressure. Like, he can't finish second 4 years in a row.
No, exactly.
And I think there'll be questions possibly asked by sections of the fan base, and maybe maybe further up the food chain in the club. But you know what I like about Arteta, and it's just as you said it there, made me think. I remember his first TV interview, and his first TV interview was about if you want to play for the club, you can play for the club, but if you don't want to play for the club, leave. It's all about the culture. We want to reconnect with the fans, and he lives and breathes this club. And you, as you said, the way the substitutes, the tea lady came out from like underneath the stadium and was running on the pitch when Max Downman scored. Everybody's on the same boat, and you could see it in the Amazon documentary a few years ago. You know, the way he's got those the light bulb moments, and he's just got them all believing and all on the same thing. Mem put up a thing on here just to shut me down on the substitution things. We've scored 21 goals from substitution. So yeah, cheers, man. Thank you, mate. Let's have a look at that Downman goal, because that's what everyone is really talking about. I've got two angles. Okay, I've got one angle from up in the upper tier off the clock end from a fan that I've nicked it off Twitter. Thank you very much. But it's just amazing to see. And what I'd say look at David Raya and Gabriel as they know that it's all safe. And then I'll show you one from the sideline, which will talk all about the Arteta feeling. But watch this one. David Raya's on the pitch, lying down like a cross, and Gabriel is on his knees. It's just absolutely priceless. And then in that corner where they've all ran to, that's where I am. And it's absolute carnage. After Gyökeres scored the first goal, I thought, right, okay, that's the job done. I'll move up the back. And I was on the back row, just tucked in with somebody else. I've got kissed by people I don't even know their names, you know? So, which is brilliant. But look at this. This is another angle. And this is from just behind the dugout. And watch Arteta and the passion that you were talking about a second ago.
Unbelievable.
It is unreal. But you can see he lives. I'll add it back in again.
Especially when you think the goals they conceded against Wolves in the last minute, Man United in the last minute. They've conceded some late goals this season. And when that corner was given, and Everton are dangerous on set pieces, I think he was just pleased to get the ball clear, but then to actually go and do what he did. And his feet, no one's mentioned the touch to come inside the last defender with his right foot. Everyone says he's left-footed, but have a look at the touch of his right foot. And then for a 16-year-old, no one got near him. He was just so quick.
Did you see the run as well? Was it Martinelli that ran across the centre half? It was such a clever run. To take that space away from the centre half of catching him up.
And what about T-Rex? Sorry, Pickford. What about Pickford? Has he? When I looked back on match today, I thought he was a little bit. Like he went up for the corner. I get that. Okay, it's the last minute. It's meant to be the last move of the game, and he's he might get a header and knock the ball in, and it goes in the back of the net, and they get a point. Which, in fairness, we couldn't have complained if they got a point. But when Max breaks through, he's just at walking pace. He doesn't start running back for some time. Surely the manager's going to tear him a new one. Lee, what would you do if your goalkeeper was like that?
I think it's a difficult one. The problem is, you're never going to get back. I totally get what you're saying, but it's probably that defeatist attitude where we've gone up there, we think we're going to score, and they break on us, and you just know you're never going to get there. So you're hoping someone does it. Totally get that. The game's done. The game's done there and then, and I don't think you can question that he cares or doesn't care for not running back. I just think it's one of those moments where you're not going to catch them, and they're going to go and score unless something miracle happens. But
if you go back to the David Raya one where you see him laying on the floor, when Downman puts it in the net, have a look how many Arsenal players are in advance of Everton players. In terms of the fitness levels, their power, they've all paced forward. And there's probably about 8 Everton players all laying on the halfway line, totally exhausted. And that was probably the difference in terms of who wanted it more in the end. And they took their opportunity.
And then for Man City to go do what they did, an ex-Arsenal player, Mavropanos, who didn't have the best time at Arsenal. I think the one game he played, actually, we lost to your team. We lost 8-2 to Man United. Mavropanos was centre half, but he saved with his face, and he also scored a goal. So I was well happy. And where I am around here is full of happy hammers. Guys, we do a lot of talking, and one thing that we do is we think it's okay to talk. We support Andy's Man Club, a men's mental health charity. We've had Alex, who's in Perth in Scotland. He's one of the key guys, an Arsenal fan as well, but he's been on with us a few times. So if anybody has gone through a storm, we've just been through one, reach out to andysmanclub.co.uk. Don't take a permanent solution to a temporary situation. It's really important. It's something really close to my heart. Sadly, I've lost some friends to men's suicide, but it's not just about suicide prevention. It's there just for if you're having a bad time. I got a friend of mine who rang me today. He said he just texted me, said, "Are you all right to talk?" And I had a chat with him. He's something gone wrong, and it's good. But if you don't have that, somebody he can pick up the phone to, go to somewhere like that.
And this is where Lee's very good with the players. He talks about this at the start of the season, was something was never really developed into my skills as a manager because no one really spoke about it in my time. Whereas it's developed, and Lee works a lot with children that need support. So on a daily basis, he's looking after vulnerable children. And he's massive on this sort of thing, and he talks to the players a lot. And if they need any support, then he is here, but we can get help from them as well.
Lee, if you ever wanted me to put you in touch with Andy's Man Club, and they can have somewhere nearby, they always have a meeting on Mondays, 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and they just serve a coffee and a biscuit. If you want me to put in touch, by all means, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
Okay, great. Listen, before we go, let's talk about the Hemel Hempstead again. I think the club are 5th in the league, 19 wins this season, 7 draws, 11 losses. You're 5th in the league. What's your ambitions? At the start of the season, do you want to do a Wrexham? No, but
look, it's crazy, really. Obviously, we took over the club that hadn't won in 14 games last season, and we turned them round and sort of finished mid-table. And the goal is, it's always, you look how long it's taken Arteta to get, and this is what annoys me with football clubs, how quickly they, get rid of their manager if a few results go the wrong way and, things like that. And I just think that things take time, things have to build. Been so good this year in terms of what the players have achieved in this season. First round of the FA Cup, first time the club's been in there many years, and we talked about the full-time teams that, I think 8 of the top 9 are full-time, bar Hemel Hempstead, and that's a massive credit to the group of players and to the football club and to the chairman. We've done great. We would love to make the playoffs. It was never the goal that when we set out, it was just about improving on last year. Well, we've done that with 9 to play. We've got more points than last year already. We probably need a few more wins to get in there, but we've been brilliant, and to top it off, to go to Wigan away in the FA Cup and draw 1-1 after extra time, unfortunately to lose on penalties was a very, very special day. But if we can top it off with a playoff place, I think that will just be the icing on the cake. But a long way to go. We've got 4 horrendous away games now that we've got to navigate through, come out with some points, and then see where the last 4 or 5 games take us.
And what was it like going to the DW Stadium for your guys? Is the DW, isn't it? The Wigan's one?
Yeah. We should have won. We were, first half they were probably better than us. And as I say, Lee got in. Never got into him. He just, questioned why are we second best here? We've got nothing to fear. If we get beat 5, we get beat 5. And second half, they were so good. Wigan went down to 10 men after about 65 minutes. We scored the penalty, and then we just literally camped in their half, hit the crossbar twice. Their goalkeepers made unbelievable saves. Went to extra time. And probably when we look back at it, we probably should have made a couple of different subs in terms of putting attacking players on rather than a couple of midfield players. But went to penalties and we lost by the odd goal. On the day, we were by far the better side and we should have got through.
Left with your heads held very, very high by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Lee, a question on management style, just because of what your dad said there. The hairdryer treatment, is that a style that's used now, or is it more holistic?
Well, I grew up for 25 years watching the hairdryer style. In terms of Dad was, he was very on the boys, and it does evolve. And I think that if you do it too much now, that you lose respect to the players. They're very, very different. We talk about mental health. You can't get too personal with people anymore, because you don't know what people are suffering with. You know what? As Dad said, I'm massive on that. You can tell when someone's broke their leg, but you can't tell if someone's got a problem in their head. So these are the things that I find that so my managing style is I treat them like they're my own. The players, they're like my family. I love them to pieces. If I have to be firm but fair, I will be. If I think people have crossed the line, I'll tell them straight. But at the same time, we have some great laughs and some great times. It's always say football, or coming to football when you're getting paid, shouldn't be a chore. It should be an enjoyment, and you're one of the lucky ones. Look how many aspiring footballers out there want to be playing football at a good level and earning money, and our group have got that opportunity. So last Tuesday, I give them the hairdryer at half time. It's probably the worst I've been in years, because I felt like we were throwing away an opportunity these opportunities don't come round often. Dad's been in management for 30 odd years, and he'll tell you on the back on probably two hands that the teams he's had success with and the teams that have been mid-table relegation battles. So when you get an opportunity like this, you have to grab it with both. You have to think about it all day, sleep thinking about it, wake up thinking about it, and give it the best opportunity. And I felt like last week they never done that. They turned it round and come back and won 3-2. But again, I wouldn't now be it's no good me going and give them the hairdryer again on Saturday, because they won't respond to it. It's not the way forward. We have to be positive. We have to enjoy this time, because as Dad likes to say quite a lot to the players, it's a lot harder having a relegation battle than it is trying to get in a playoff battle.
64 points, 71 Dorking. Where's the cutoff for automatic? Is it just one, or is it two?
One, and then top six after that, in the playoff. So we got a great chance, but there's some very, very good football clubs below us. Very good football clubs. Just to be on level on points with Torquay at this stage of the season, I think just shows what a great season we've had, because Torquay United are an ex-football league club, Dagenham and Redbridge. Some big football teams in this league, and we've done great. For me, Dorking will win it personally, but I think there's every chance that if we do this right, we've got a great chance of being in the playoffs.
Yeah. Good luck to you, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
I suppose before we finish off, what's your thoughts on the next two games for Arsenal? I'll ask you as a so-called neutral, Lee. Leverkusen at the Emirates. I think you touched on it earlier. Leverkusen do travel well in Europe, and as we've already discussed, German teams are no mugs. What do you expect in that fixture?
I feel that they'll come through it. I think Arsenal will be relentless, and I think they'll find a way. I think they'll dominate the ball, and they'll get chances. So I feel that they'll get through tomorrow night. I think 2-0, 3-0. I think they'll pull through with no issues personally.
Ian, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think they'll be comfortable, especially being at home. I think they've been a bit nervous playing at home in the league, and I don't think we've played with the same fluency at home as we was probably the year before. But I think in Europe we've looked really dangerous. But as you say, the teams that you come up against, they have some really good individual players that can turn a game on its head very quickly. So I think defensively they need to still be strong, but I still think they'll have too much going forward. And I think, again, like Lee, I think they'll win something like a 2-0 or a 3-1.
And it's likely, unless something strange happens, to be Bodo Glimt, which is going to cost Trevor a fortune. I won't get a ticket because only 400 away tickets going. So yeah,
but their home form has been outstanding, hasn't it?
Their home form was brilliant, and the pitch is difficult. We went there a couple of years ago and we won 1-0. There's not many English sides that go there. I think City struggled against them
3-0, didn't they?
Yeah. Tottenham did beat them, but they don't beat many people these days, do they? On the subject, like the Tudors, which is Hemel Hempstead's nickname, like we're the Gunners. What do you think of Tudor?
Oh well, he struggled, hasn't he? I don't know. there's something fundamentally wrong at that football club, in my opinion.
Correct.
I didn't think Ange Postecoglou done a poor job. I thought he'd done well. Listen, they struggled in the season, but all his focus was on winning the Europa League. You know, he achieved that. He said, "I'll win something in my second season." He's done it. So I felt the guy deserved another crack at it. Thomas Frank, has he turned into a bad manager overnight? I don't think so.
Nope.
Who was before Postecoglou? Listen, it comes down to your recruitment. Like anything in football, you're only as good as your recruitment. And at the moment, Tottenham aren't very good. I like Tottenham a little bit, but I think that
you cannot come in your house again, Ian. You
Uh,
cannot come in your house again.
Do you know what?
You know,
I like,
you mentioned Postecoglou. Postecoglou wins.
do you know what it is? When I say I like them, I just feel like they're a big football club for the division, and they should be fighting around the top, and they should have better local derbies with Arsenal and Chelsea and all these teams. And I think they've become a very easy game. I think they've got too many overpaid players, and I think that they need to sort their structure out very, very quickly, employ a manager and get on with it, and start trying to move forward again, because I think they're struggling. I wouldn't cry if they went down, though.
Postecoglou did say, that he always wins something in a second, but he also said that on the trophy parade, season 3 gets even better when they get relegated. So,
I actually thought Thomas Frank was a really good appointment. I really did. But you have a look at where they were when he left to where they are now.
Yeah.
But it's like everything. They've had injuries. Arsenal had injuries the last few years.
They've been ravaged with injuries, in fairness.
You've obviously got to ask what they're doing on the training pitch. You've got to ask where they are in terms of the medical team. Something is wrong there. Does it come from the top where everyone said it was Levy, but he's no longer there? So is it the owners? But there's just something not quite right at that football club, which is obviously it's disturbing in terms of their performances, because I felt they got very fortunate yesterday.
They did.
They got a point out of nothing, which you've got to give them credit for, but they still didn't look a very good side for me.
No.
There's not a lot of cohesion and there's not a lot of team spirit, I don't feel.
Briefly, one sentence or so. League Cup final. Who's winning it? Ian.
Arsenal. I think they're a better side than Man City now. I think Man City's there's something not quite right there as well. I think the manager, I wouldn't be surprised if the manager goes at the end of the season, and it might have already been known within the club that he's going at the end of the season. Yeah. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Lee?
Arsenal. Yeah, too big, too strong, too powerful.
Brilliant. Guys, thank you very, very much for joining us. I've really enjoyed it. I've kept you longer than I thought. We blame Trevor's technical. You've got a game to watch. You have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. We're not going to do the North London Forever on tonight's one. We'll just go straight to the end. Thank you both, guys, and I do hope you can join us again another time.
Thanks
for having us.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.